There's a billionaire Nigeria forgot, but the reason he was erased was more interesting than his money. Not because he was useless, not because he failed, but because remembering him causes a problem. Because if he's real, then the story of who controlled Nigerians' wealth before independence starts to crack. He sat inside the biggest business circles in the colonial Nigeria. He moved goods across the whole country, and at one time, he was richer than almost anyone alive in this part of Africa. But most people do not know him. They only know his son, not the man who built everything before the war. So the question is not who he was. The question is, how does a man become Nigeria's first billionaire and still disappear from history? That does not happen by mistake. Something removes names like that, and once you see it, you understand how history is really written. I am Kumak. This is Kumak Explains. Let's go back to the beginning.
Ojukwu beze na la Biafra, edere ya na buri.
Before you go further, you need to know one thing. There were two Ojukwus. The father, Sir Louis Odumegwu Ojukwu. The son, Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu. Same family name, two completely different lives. The father made his money under British rule. The British controlled everything then. He played by their rules and he won. The son lived in a different Nigeria. After freedom, after army takeovers, after the killings, power was the game, not money. The rules changed. The son played a different game. Now, here is why the son's job was so important. He became the military governor of the Eastern region. Why was that job so sensitive? Because the Eastern region was the most powerful part of Nigeria. It had oil, it had seaports, it had factories, but it was also full of anger. People were not happy. There had been army takeovers, there had been killings. The son was put in the hottest seat in the country. When things exploded, he started a war. The father's money paid for that war. The father's name was buried because of that war. So when you hear Ojukwu and think of war, you are thinking about the son. But this video is about the father, the man Nigerians forgot. Louis Odumegwu Ojukwu was born in 1901 in Nnewi, Eastern Nigeria. He was the third son of Sir Ojukwu, a rich trader and a chief. The family had money, they had land, they had connections. Louis had everything he needed. Then his father died. Louis was just 8 years old. In Igbo culture, the first son takes over the family, the second son helps. Then the third son must find his own way. Louis watched his older brothers take over the family business. He was not in line for power, so he decided to leave. At age 20, he said goodbye to Nnewi. He traveled to Lagos, the busy colonial capital, the place where people made fortunes. He had no money, no connections, no plan, just hunger. He arrived in Lagos in 1921. The city was growing very fast. British companies were building railways, ports, and offices. Louis needed work, any work. He got a job selling tire for John Holt, a British trading company. He was not selling luxurious cars, he was selling tires to truck drivers, and that was hard work and dirty work. But Louis worked harder than everyone else. He stayed longer. He learned faster. The British bosses noticed him, but they would never treat him as an equal because of his skin color. Louis watched British bosses earn more money than him, get promotions he never got, live in houses he could never afford. But he was smarter than them, worked harder than them. knew the business better than them, but they had one thing he did not have: white skin. The system was built for him to serve, not to own. That anger stayed with him. But Louis did not protest, he did not fight, he did not write angry letters. He saved. He saved every little money he could. And in 1931, he left John Holt. He started his own transport company with one small truck. The British bosses laughed. An African with one truck, he will fail in few months. But Louis did not fail. He grew. One truck became 10, 10 became 100, and 100 became a whole fleet. He named his company Ojukwu Transport Limited. Soon, his trucks were everywhere, from Lagos to Kano, from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. The British were not laughing anymore. In the 1930s, Nigeria's economy was growing. Cocoa, palm oil, tin, and many more. All these goods needed to move from farms to seaports. But transports were controlled by British companies. They charged higher prices. They kept Africans out. Louis broke their control. He offered better prices, faster delivery, and reliable service. Nigerian farmers and traders chose him over the British companies. He did not stop at transport. He bought shops, then clothes factories, then cement factory. He built an empire. By the 1950s, Louis Ojukwu was the richest African in Nigeria. But ask yourself this: if he was so rich, so powerful, so connected, why did no one teach you his name? He sat on the boards of Shell Nigeria, Guinness Nigeria, the Nigeria Coal Corporation, and other big companies. He became the first president of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. He was the first Nigerian to own a Rolls-Royce car. In 1956, he drove Queen Elizabeth II around Nigeria. The same British Empire that ignored him now needed him the most. So, how rich was he? Forbes Africa later said his wealth was about $4 billion in today's money. He was Nigeria's first billionaire. But here is the part that they do not teach you in school. His wealth was not just money, it was power. He sat on the boards that decided Nigeria's economic future. He owned trucks that moved Nigeria's goods. He had the ear of British leader who needed his help. He was not just rich, he was part of the system, and the system wanted his son next. Louis Ojukwu sent his son to the best schools: Oxford University, the British Army School. The father wanted his son to move in rich and powerful cycles. To be accepted here, he was not. The son became an army officer. He rose quickly. By 1966, Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu was the military governor of Eastern Nigeria. Then the army takeovers came, the killings, the fear, and the son made a decision that changed Nigerians forever. He said the East was now its own country. He created the Republic of Biafra. 3 years of war, millions of people died. The father's money paid for the son's war. The British Empire that Louis had fought to rise above now helped Nigerians fight against his son. When the war ended, Chukwuemeka ran away to Ivory Coast. Louis Ojukwu did not live to see the end. He died in 1966, even before the war started. Well, some people said he died because of heart attack, that the son ignored his warning about starting the war. And we don't know if it's true or not. What I did know is that his money paid for the son's war. His name was tied to it. And today, when Nigerians hear Ojukwu, they think of war. Not wealth, not empire. War. Here is the question nobody asks. Why was the father erased from history? Louis Ojukwu built the wealth that paid for the war, and his name is almost nowhere. The son's face is everywhere. The war is taught in school, the rebellion is remembered. And today, his name is not on a building, not on a currency note, not in any school textbook. He's not forgotten because he was small. He's erased because he was big. And that is more dangerous to the people who write history. Maybe because history causes a problem. If you accept that a Nigerian man built his wealth before independence, then you have to ask, why was he not celebrated? Why were his achievements not taught? Why was he erased from the books? The answer is not comfortable, because Louis Ojukwu succeeded within the colonial system. He played their games. He made their rules work for him. And when his son used that wealth to fight the system erased the father. Not because he failed, because he proved it was possible. And that truth is dangerous. Here is the twist. Louis Ojukwu built his wealth by serving the British colonial system. He sat on their boards, he moved their goods, he made his money inside their rules. But his son used that same money to fight the system that the father had served. The father wanted to be accepted, the son wanted to separate. Here's what you can learn from Sir Louis Odumegwu Ojukwu's story. Not to build a transport empire, that is not your lane. The real lesson is this: the system will use you, it will reward you, it will put you on its boards and let you drive the queen. But the moment your name becomes a problem, the system will erase you. Louis Ojukwu died before the war. He did not fire one bullet, he did not declare independence, he did not tear the country apart. But his name was buried anyway, because his son did. That is not an attack, that is a warning. For every founder, for every builder, for every person who succeeds inside the system, your name is not in your hands. It is in the hands of those who come after you. I am Kumak, and this is Kumak Explains. If you want more breakdown like this, how the system really works, who gets remembered, and who gets erased, hit subscribe. Comment below, did you know Sir Louis Odumegwu Ojukwu before this video? See you in the next breakdown.